Welcome back to On Stage. This week we are in London at the Royal National Theatre, where Broadway's upcoming revival of Angels in America opened last May. I caught up with Pulitzer and Tony-winning playwright Tony Kushner to talk about bringing this masterpiece back to audiences on both sides of the pond. What made you want to create this piece?
I started thinking about it around 1986, 1987, and the epidemic was still growing every year. It was a terrifying time. And Ronald Reagan was president, and at the point at which I started working on the play, he still hadn't mentioned the AIDS epidemic once as president, which is an unforgivable thing. It was a gathering of a lot of concerns of mine and also a certain amount of joy because I was at the time coming out and establishing my own identity as a gay man, as a gay artist. I didn't think it was going to be 2 evenings long, and I didn't think it would become a big deal. I just thought it was going to be a nice play for the Eureka Theater in San Francisco.
You told The Guardian, "I felt that Millennium Approaches, which is part 1 of the piece, is finished, as good as I can make it. But the second part, Perestroika, still has possibilities." So what are these possibilities?
It just seems to be one of those plays that has a kind of internal fluidity. I probably will always want to pick at it. It invites, I think, that kind of revisiting.
Lesion number 1, love. That's a trap.
Do you ever watch Nathan Lane and Andrew Garfield in rehearsal and think to yourself, I'm going to rework stuff just for them?
I don't know if I've really felt that I wanted to rework stuff. I have told both of them that I would like to write something for them. And when you're a playwright and you write, lines for actors, it's just a gift from heaven to have an actor like Nathan who digs deeply into the text and thinks it over and then has that weird ability that actors have to make it all sound like he's inventing it on the spot. I don't know how they do that.
Your character of Pryor closes the piece with, "We won't die secret deaths anymore."
The world only spins forward. We will be citizens. The time has come.
That passage gets me every time. And it's almost as if when you wrote this, almost 30 years ago, you were predicting the future.
I think that if you write about political things and immediate concerns of your community, of your culture, and you're thinking hard about those things and trying to find truth as much as you can, which is the job of every playwright, you'll seem a little bit prescient. Plays that address questions of liberation, the passage that you just read, if they do it in a truthful way, in a meaningful way, I think that they have a shot at being of interest to people, even if they get to be old. Angels is now 30-something years old, but it's been around for a while, and I hope it'll last.
And Angels in America begins performances at the Neil Simon Theater in February. The show was directed by National Theater favorite Marianne Elliott. Over the years, Elliott has won Tonys for her acclaimed plays War Horse and The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. We caught up with Marianne to talk about her incredible career, past, present, and future. When did you know you wanted to be a director?
I suppose I was quite old. I was about 28 when I decided maybe I could give it a shot. And then it just took off. I mean, I've never had a 5-year plan. I've never had a 1-year plan. I've rarely had a 6-month plan.
You're doing pretty good. Your latest project is, of course, the incredible revival of Angels in America. Now it's coming to Broadway. Was Angels a dream project of yours?
Yes, it was, because I've always loved it. I've never seen it on stage, which is a good thing, I think. If you're going to direct it on stage, you kind of want to have a clean view of how to do it. And, I'm not the first choice for that play because I'm a straight English woman, but it speaks to me. It really speaks to me.
Love, that's a trap. Responsibility, that's a trap, too.
You're bringing the majority of this dream cast to Broadway. What's it like working with these folks in the room?
It's initially quite scary, I suppose.
Do you get intimidated, Marianne?
Yeah, but you know what? I think everybody does. I think that was the thing that we all felt. We were all a little bit terrified because it's this, to use a word from the play, monolith. And you're standing at the bottom of the mountain looking up at the monolith thinking, crikey, we've got to get right up there and we've got to do it well.
When you were first introduced to the property of Warhorse, what was your reaction?
I felt very excited by it. I thought it probably wouldn't work or it was a huge risk, but that didn't really enter into it. It didn't matter. It just felt, yeah, this is so exciting. Why wouldn't we do this?
And not only did your play win multiple Tonys, you also won a Tony for Best Direction.
Marianne Elliott and Tom Morris for Warhorse.
What was going through your mind when your name was called for a Tony Award?
I was swearing internally because I knew I'd have to do a public speech.
Is this train going to London?
You follow up your Broadway debut with a production of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, the first show that I experienced watching a young man with autism. What went through your mind with creating the world?
We were just going, well, how are we going to do this journey to London? And how are we going to set it? Are we going to set it in a school or are we going to set it in a bare stage? And Bunny Christie, the designer, said, if we are trying to imagine this theatre piece in the same way as you read the book thinking you're Christopher and you see the world through Christopher's eyes. Therefore, we have to do the stage piece that way. So the stage piece has to be his brain. It has to be how he sees things.
You had New York abuzz, or at least the theater community abuzz, with the fact that you are reviving Company.
Oh, yeah.
With a female Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby with an eye.
Bobby with an eye, yes.
Which is the first time it's ever been done, because normally it's played by a guy in his mid-30s, right?
Yes.
Mid to late 30s.
Yes.
How'd you get Sondheim to let you do Bobby as a female?
Sondheim was a little unsure at first because why wouldn't you? You know, he didn't write it that way. And as we know, Sondheim's very particular about his writing and his lyrics and the music. It has to be absolutely perfectly right for the characters. So he wasn't sure, but I persuaded him to let me do a workshop. And we filmed it all at the end, the whole thing. And then we spoke and I think he was really pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
So Company later this year in the fall. What's next for Marianne? Is it just the theater, or is it bigger than that?
I think there'll always be the theatre, because it's a hungry beast, and it needs to have shows, and I like to do those things.
Special thank you to the National Theatre for hosting us today, and to our sponsors, Visit Britain, Norwegian Airlines, and the St. Martin's Land Hotel. Be sure to tune in next week as Broadway favorite Jonathan Groff previews his upcoming New York concert. And British director Michael Grandage talks to us about creating Disney's Frozen for the stage. Until then, I'll see you at the theater.